She goes, Meng, God saved you. And I was like, what do you mean? Because she's a physician.
Oh.
She's a nurse practitioner. She was like, did you know that the number one complication in pregnancy is high blood pressure? That was it.
Mic drop.
That's what I mean, that there's a story throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like, what do I have to doubt?
A few years ago, someone had mentioned that Meng had a story to tell. But when I called her, the first thing she said was, I don't have a story. But as we started talking and she started sharing, I physically had to sit down. This wasn't just a story. Her life was an example of what God can do when you put your trust in Him. There's so many layers in her story, so many pivots she had to make mentally, physically, and more importantly, spiritually, that the only way to tell it is to have her share it with you. I'm Maliu Garcia Pablo, and you're listening to Making Changes, a podcast about changes we go through and the life lessons we learn along the way, but always with God by our side.
Hello, Rhea Mae.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
Okay, first, let's just get it out of the way.
Okay.
Can I just call you Meng? Because I don't know you as Rhea Mae.
Yes, you can call me Meng. Yes.
Hello, Meng. Welcome to Making Changes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
We're going to start off by saying happy belated birthday. You just had a milestone of a birthday, and I saw the videos and the photos. So tell us about this monumental birthday of yours.
So my birthday is February 25th, and I turned 40. So I'm a numbers girl. So it's 02/25, 2025. And so I thought to myself, wow, and it's my 40th. And after everything that I went through these past couple of years, coming into 2025, I told myself, no holds bar. Whatever's on your heart, so long as it's in His will, just do it. What do you have to lose?
Because you're not a birthday party celebration kind of person.
Actually, I love birthdays, but not in a way like I'll throw birthdays or I'll do like adventures, put things on. And I love birthdays. I celebrate my birthday all month. But to have I feel like I'm having a debut at 40.
Well, let's talk about that, because you didn't even know this, but friends of yours reached out to people, because you know everybody, it seems. Friends of yours, unbeknownst to you, reached out to people, myself included. So I sent you a greeting, right?
Thank you so much.
And, they really took the time months before your birthday to be able to get shout outs and messages of love from all of these people just for you as a gift, right? Yes. And I saw the videos. You are so loved. So I already see you tearing up right now. Why was this? It's your 40th, and, but your friends really rallied around to make sure that you felt loved and celebrated. What has the last few years been like for you?
About 3 years ago, it was during, we were in worship service. I looked at my sister and I said, I think you're going to need to take me to the ER. And she's like, what's going on?
What were you feeling?
My whole left side completely went numb. I couldn't, from my lips down to my arms, everything. And it's like, something's wrong. I think we have to go. We went straight to the ER, and my blood pressure was 192/110 or something like that. And as they were like, something's wrong with her, because I was like, you could tell I was off. So as they were taking this off, I don't know what compelled me to, I know it was God, but I said to the doctor, by the way, both my grandparents died of brain aneurysms. That's all I said to them as I'm going into the ER.
Because you could feel that you were thinking maybe it is an aneurysm, it's a stroke. What made you say that out loud?
I have no idea, because before then, before that moment, for 2 weeks straight, my carotid artery was pulsing. Whoa. And my headaches were so bad. And the headaches were so bad that I would tell my sister, I was like, whatever's in here, I wish it would just pop. Oh, that was my, that's how I spoke. How I described this
so
feeling.
Painful.
It was so painful. And it just felt like this barometer. Like it was like, a thermometer, just like about to explode. And so I said that at the ER after 2 weeks of going through this. And then he went and got the MRI, and that's when he said, "I'm sorry to tell you, but you have a brain aneurysm." And that was like,
Was it
my
about to rupture? Like, you have a brain aneurysm. Were they afraid it was going to rupture soon?
So yeah, that was the whole thing was, he goes, "You're a ticking time bomb."
Wow.
And he was like, "Do you want to die?" I mean, imagine someone telling you you're a ticking time bomb. You have a brain aneurysm, and you know your family has all died.
You have 3 family members.
I have 3
who
family
died.
members that have died, and they all passed away from, 2 from a brain aneurysm, and then 1 from
And
an
how
8-year-old.
old were they?
In their 60s, 50s and 60s. And they didn't know they had it. So
what are you thinking at this moment?
I just want to go to the chapel and pray. That's all I wanted to do.
Obviously, you can't because they're not going to let you go home.
Yeah.
So tell me about, if you remember, what was your first words that came out of your mouth in the ER?
You want to be real with you? I said, "Why?" And I kind of feel ashamed about saying that now. Can I talk?
Well,
just real
you're human.
talk? Yeah, that's true.
Why what? Can you finish the sentence?
How? I thought I was healthy. Like, why? Why do I have a brain aneurysm?
At this point, you are an active member of the church. You're an officer. What were the duties?
Oh, yeah. I'm a Sunday school teacher, CWS teacher.
Children's worship service teacher.
Worship service teacher. I'm in the choir. At the time, I was the district vice president of the Kadiwa organization.
Our youth group.
Yes, of the youth group, our district-wide youth group, as well as I helped with a lot of the marketing and media for the Light of Salvation to share our faith.
So you're so spiritually involved. You are doing everything that you thought you're supposed to do as a Christian.
Yeah.
And so now you're saying why, and what's the request though that you ask from God at this point?
My thing was, "God, please help me. Please guide me in everything that I do." But at that moment, it was anxiety just flooded in, constant anxiety of, is this it? I was constantly thinking to myself every time I got a headache, is this it? I need to go to the doctor. I would go to the ER. And I couldn't live like that. There was just something happening.
Living a life of paranoia.
Yes, constant. Like, is this it? I was at the point where I was writing my goodbye letters
Whoa.
to my family. I have letters. Actually, I have letters to my family that I wrote.
Because 3 of your family members didn't make it.
I'm going to fast forward. And I find out 6 months later, I found out that the aneurysm was inoperable. It's in a place where it's in between both hemispheres. And so if they were to do the surgery, it's either there's 2 outcomes according to the doctors, that it was either I'd die or I wouldn't be the same person in terms of my personality.
So nothing positive.
Yeah. So I was like, no. And they had already brought it to a panel of 11 doctors where 5 of them said, get the surgery, and 6 said, don't. And my doctor was like, well, it's up to you. And I was like, okay, how can you make that decision?
It's not even a choice, really.
Yeah. It's like, so how am I supposed to make that decision? And so this is where that journey of like trust started. And I felt a shift happen, and God started to put people in my life that were helping me become someone that walked by faith, who trusted God. And I started to read books. I have mentors who helped me through my thought life. And I know for a fact that God put them in my life, because that's where that shift changed. And I said to myself, well, if God was to give me 10 days or 10 years to live, how would I live that life? And my fate is no different from your fate. Like the doctor can just label it like, oh, well, you have an aneurysm and
you're a ticking
time bomb. But that's anybody.
Yes.
I could walk out here and my ticking time bomb was a car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality.
And even if someone wasn't given a ticking time bomb, you could just get hit by a bus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all are literally a ticking time bomb.
Yes.
Depends how you look at it.
That's how our lives are, though. And I remember this service. I remember this worship service, and it was during Brother Eduardo's service.
Our executive minister. And it was during that time of faith, that believe in, trust in, and rely on what he can do for you.
Yes. And I remember that service, and I remember praying and just saying, God, if I want to live, and if you allow me to live, I'll use my life in service for you. And that's where biblically there's the story of King Hezekiah. And I remember that. And I always loved that story growing up, in children's worship service. But this was that time where I was like, oh, I could relate to this. This is what that story meant to me then, and where it was going to play into my life now. When I thought about that story, about what was the first thing that King Hezekiah did? And as a king, he didn't ask for doctors to come in. He didn't. He turned to God. And that's why I said to you, when I was told that, all I knew was I knew I needed God. And so when I asked him, I said, if you allow me to live, please, I'll use my life in service to you. I didn't know how he was going to use me, but all I know is I want to be an effective instrument. So imagine a year went by, and I asked a minister for a prayer on my birthday. And he said, what do you want? I love when they ask that, because they're going to pray for you with such intention. And the only thing I asked him, I said, that the Holy Spirit never leaves me. And that was it. I saw and felt everything shift. And it wasn't like it went away. It's not even about that. God he's the most intentional in our lives. And he put the right people in my life to talk to me, to guide me, to medical doctors, my mentors, to help me think different. The mindset had to shift, what I'm saying. And I started to read this book that it's science-based on how the mind is malleable, right?
Yes.
And that your thoughts can change your physical pattern. And so when I started reading this, all of that was in the book, it was already being taught to us since our childhood in the worship service.
Yes.
The constant renewal of your mind. And if you're constantly renewing your mind, which you need to, because our mind naturally gravitates to the negative, that's where I was like, okay, I can change the trajectory and the course of my life through my thoughts.
Yes.
What is it that we're always taught? Put on the mind of Christ. And I was like, okay. Everything that we were being taught in the worship services, it was all being applied, and I was able to use it in my journey to heal. When I say heal, the brain aneurysm didn't go away, but my mind was healing.
Your mind is what changed.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that it really is a progression of faith. Normally when someone is diagnosed with something, with pain, right? Our first go-to is, God, please take this away. How long did it take you to go from God, please take away, or hoping that it would go away, to fully accepting this is my reality? And now you're just trusting in God.
That was that year of constantly going through. Because you're right. I didn't even think about that. There was a point where I was like, this is going to go away. So I was going to ER and like, can you check?
Maybe it disappeared overnight.
Maybe there's a wrong diagnosis. Nope, I've had 3 different hospitals check and it's there.
It's still there. As you know, my husband has had his own medical issues as well. In the beginning, you're like, had cardiomyopathy, he had heart transplant, then kidney transplant. In the beginning, you're just praying, God, please take this away. Take this diagnosis away. Show the doctors that you can perform a miracle because I'm your child.
Yes.
And then as time goes on, you're like, still there. And now you shift to, I'm just trusting. In our family, we always say, we don't get to choose our trials. Our only job is to make sure we pass them.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like, as I'm listening to you talk, you went from focusing on the aneurysm, focusing on your illness, and now you didn't even mention once the word aneurysm, because everything that came out of your mouth just now were all about God.
And I don't even call it my aneurysm. I call it an aneurysm. The aneurysm.
Why?
Aneurysm.
Why do you not
It's not mine.
own it?
That's not mine. that's just my test, like you said. It's like your trial. That's just part of my journey.
But it's not your
But
identity.
it's not my identity. That's not who I am. And that's something that I learned in that process. You're talking about how long did it take from that shift? Really, it was that worship service.
Wow.
And it was that worship service. And then from that worship service, it was the people he put in my life to change my perspective. And as it's happening, I'm forgetting I have anything, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm in the clear.
Fine.
I'm good. I'm fine. And, I didn't really talk about it to too many people. Only my family really knew. Even when I would go into my doctor's appointments with the neurosurgeon, he goes, your blood pressure is really low. And I was like, well,
Now
is that
it's too low. Before it was too high.
No, but like it's low for someone who has an aneurysm. He's like, your blood pressure is normal, is pretty much what he's saying. He's like, your blood pressure is normal. And I said,
But weren't you on meds?
yeah. I was like, what? Well, why is that like a thing you'd say to me? He goes, most patients, my patients, their blood pressure is high when they come to see me. And I said, well, I mean, isn't my fate no different than yours? And he goes, well, you're right. Like, I could tell I changed.
By this time, were you still having panic attacks? Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's how powerful the mind
mind
is.
is.
So you basically took cognitive science, right? And biblical teachings. And the Bible says that, right? Be careful of your thoughts because our lives are shaped by our thoughts. And it was proven true with you.
It's like, it's a constant thing you have to do. You can't just think that, all right, well, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm always right.
Yeah.
Everything's always, this is how I've always thought. This is how I'm always going to think. That's not true. We're constantly having to renew it. And so in that span that I was changing, you're saying physical change was stark difference. The headaches, I think also, well, I'm on the medication of high blood pressure. So my blood pressure started to go down.
Felt better.
But even though like that, it was a constant, whenever a negative thought came in, I had to replace it with something positive. I had to live in constant gratitude.
Give me an example what that looks like. Like what would a bad day look like for you and how would you flip that?
Yeah. So I would get to places where I think, well, I don't have the body that I used to have, or I can't do certain things. I can't like certain limitations that I started to have on myself.
What limitations did the doctors give you?
For example, like if I'm too excited, my blood pressure is going to go up. If I'm working out too much and I'm like,
Cortisol
I can't
levels,
breathe,
you're stressing yourself.
Yeah, competitive sports. You can't be in high, intense things anymore.
Because then
My
your
blood
blood
pressure
pressure
will go
goes
up.
up and you could rupture. Wow.
Yeah, I can't even go on roller coasters anymore.
Well, that's okay because I get sick with roller coasters too.
But like different things have changed.
That you used to love.
That I used to love. And I'd be so down, like I'd get depressed. And so when thoughts of like, well, you can't do that.
You focus on the can't. When you start thinking about
I
the
was
can't.
so focused on everything I couldn't do.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Or what I'm not anymore, or I can't be, I can't do. And I started flipping that. I'm like, but at least you can have this. At least you get to do this. You get to wake up. You can walk. At least you can walk. At least you can do this. Right?
You can still drive, obviously.
Oh yeah, I can still drive.
Yeah. So you would replace your list of can'ts to I get to.
I get to. Yeah. My gratitude list. I had to, even now, I mean, I'm talking like I'm like this all the time. That is not true. I'm always having to, but you know what's nice is if I look back at myself 2 years ago, the time between the negative thought to the positive thought is getting smaller. It's quicker for me to get out of that.
Before it used to be what? Like how many minutes? How many hours?
I would lock myself in my room, turn off the lights, don't talk to me. I don't want anything to do with anyone. And I'm very
social.
Very social.
That's so hard for me to imagine you in a dark room,
gosh.
just not.
I wouldn't leave my house. I would only leave. There were moments, there were moments where a bad day would be a bad week, where the only time I would leave my house is to go to worship service. And when I'd be in worship service, I'm smiling. I'm all good. Nothing's wrong. I'm leading. I'm singing. And I come home and I go back into my room and I wouldn't leave. And I try to make it like look like I was normal, like nothing happened. And those were long. I mean, those moments were like, you don't want to see light. You don't want, and you know, when you're a social person and everyone expects you to be that light, that
who
energy.
who they knew you as.
Right. You're supposed to be a particular, have this energy that you bring every time. You have to, I couldn't do it all the time. I couldn't bring that, energy.
Facade.
Yeah, and I felt guilty. I felt guilty when I couldn't be that for everyone else. And I felt like if I'm not good, if I'm not on, then what was the point of me being there? So I would hide.
You're so hard on yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's where like I started to change. The change started to happen where I think God put me through this, not just, I'm going to talk about this. I think God put me through this so that I can change to become the person he always wanted me to be. So I can truly be that light that everyone thinks I am. Because it's easy to get in front of people and be what you think they need. But it's not easy, actually. It's hard to be that person when you're really not that for yourself.
These moments, days, weeks of depression, months maybe even. What were your prayers like during your darkest times?
Why'd you leave me?
Because it felt that way.
Yeah, I felt like, well, you know, growing up, you're taught to like, you reflect. Is this a sin? You know, am I being punished? I'm sorry. That's like all you can say, right? I'm sorry. And then when these lessons in worship service help you navigate through those emotions and thoughts, I'm sorry. And then it's, can you help me pass? Or is this what you want for me? Is it going to be like this forever? And yeah, and sometimes you don't want it anymore. You don't want to feel these things. And I'm so thankful that I don't live in that place anymore.
Yeah.
Because you beat yourself up a lot. You blame yourself for things. You think that you deserve it. Those long moments of not, you start to lose your self-worth too. And I think me saying this right now isn't something that like I would like openly talk about. But yeah, I lost a lot of like self-worth because I thought, well, if I'm sick and I can't do the things I used to, what good am I to anybody else? Nobody wants to be around that. You know, you don't want to be around somebody who's always down.
Do you think that, we learn in worship service all the time that God is a God of order? God never just does anything just because. There's always purpose. Yeah. And as you look back at your life now, 3 years later, do you see the purpose?
Absolutely. I see it clear as day what my purpose is.
Thank you for tuning in to Making Changes. We're so grateful to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Let us know what topics you'd love to hear, whether it's spiritual growth, navigating life transitions, or deepening your faith. Your feedback helps shape our conversations. And if the show has inspired you, subscribe and leave us a review. Your support helps us continue bringing uplifting conversations that empower change from the inside out. Let's grow together. Drop us a topic suggestion and hit that subscribe button today.
I'm a firm believer, because I've also experienced it myself, is that it is during these really, really, really tough, you're the bottom of the barrel experiences where you not only get to know what you are made of, but more importantly, you get to know what God is made of.
Yes. Absolutely. A year after I kind of finally got my foot on the ground, I'm more positive, I'm working on my thought life, and I'm getting through all of this. The day after my birthday last year, 2024, I find out I have cancer. I was having dinner with Anata. She was going through, she was going to get her tumor removed from her, but it's benign and she's fine. She's just telling me about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm not regular either, but that's normal because I have PCOS, my cycle, whatever. Some random girl comes to our table and she goes, I'm sorry, I was eavesdropping. She goes, but my sister just died of ovarian cancer. And she looks at me, she's like, I think you should get checked, and walks away. And I was like, what? I was like, what just happened right now? And I had just gotten my regular exam, so I wasn't due for one. And when she walked away, I was like, really? I was like, okay. I scheduled it right away.
Yeah.
So from there, I had my exam and my doctor was like, something doesn't seem right. Let's get an ultrasound. I'm like, okay. So the ultrasound, and the guy, I could see his face like, and they're not supposed to do that, right? And said, what did you find? And he was like, nah, it's normal. You should be fine. We're just going to do a biopsy. I'm like, oh, okay. So then he does the biopsy. So I'm waiting for the results. And so I am eager and impatient. So I go and look. And I sent that to someone, like a doctor. I said, what's this word? And I was like, can you read this paragraph? And the response was, that's not good. She was like, you have cancer.
What is ovarian cancer?
I ended up having uterine in my uterus, cancer in my uterus. Oh my gosh. It was 10 p.m. No, it was like 11:30 at night, the day after my birthday. And I'm looking at this thing. And I looked at my sister. I said, I'll be right back. She's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to the chapel. And so I drove straight to the Seattle chapel. It was like a 45-minute drive. It was, by that time, it was like midnight. And I just remember getting on my knees and I said, nothing. I just cried. And he was all I have. And I said, can you just get me through this one too? Trust me, it was like, why? It was like, I was like, didn't I just get through this one? You're talking about God saying like his order and his purpose. Now that I look back, while I was crying and saying, why? Like, I just got through this one. How come you're putting this one in my path? And I said, but I know you got me through that one. So I know you're going to get me through this one. But I'm just, again, my prayer was the same, was, if it's okay, can you just let me get through this?
If you were Meng, what would you do in her situation? Meng's story doesn't end here. In fact, what happens next teaches us an even more valuable lesson of what happens when you put your life and your future in God's hands. Want to hear the rest of her story? Scan the QR code on the screen to listen to the full episode on Spotify.